Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. In today's video, we are going to be resetting for the month of April. So we're going to talk about how the month of March went as far as my personal goals and our financial goals and all the lessons that I learned in March, literally all the things. And then we will be talking about how I hope that April will go. Of course, by now I've already done a dedicated April budget with me video. I'd like to keep those separate. And of course, I did an April plan with me video. So if you want to see all the nitty-gritty details of our April budget, then check out the April budget with me, and of course all the nitty details of me setting up my planner, then check out the April plan with me. Like I mentioned, we're pretty much just going to recap the month of March to include finances and then prep for the month of April on all fronts. So without further ado, let's hop right into the video. As always, I'm here with my handy dandy trusty iPad, and we're going to just reflect on the month of March. So I like to start out with talking about my high moments, and in the month of March, a high moment for me was going to dinner with my coworkers. As many of you know, I work in public education. I am a special type of counselor or clinician, and in the district there are 5 of us, and we all work in different zones. So therefore I never see my coworkers, but maybe once a month if we have a meeting or something, but otherwise I don't really see them. But one coworker managed to get us all together outside of work, and we went to this rooftop bar situation, and it was just so fun. I'm going to show you a picture of it when I show my mood board, but it was such a vibe. If you want to, I'll show you a picture. Actually, one didn't come. So it was 4 of us, but the one who lives the furthest away from us did not come. So that was really fun. Also, I took a spontaneous trip to Macon with my husband, and I also took another spontaneous trip, I think, or impromptu trip with my husband, and that was a high moment for me because I don't consider us to be super spontaneous people, so anytime I can dibble and dabble in spontaneity, it lights my soul on fire. Another high moment was essentially doing some party prepping and party planning. I love planning. So my friend's getting married, and I already planned her bachelorette party. I did it in a couple of hours because the place where we want to go, or where she wants to go, is actually, well, it's a place we've been wanting to go together for a while, but the place where she wants to go, there's already kind of like a set list of things that you do once you get there. It's like a whole experience. So planning that wasn't that difficult, so I did that. And then of course we had a St. Patrick's Day party here at our house, and I was also planning that, of course. And so I just realized that party planning is my thing. Event planning is my thing. Planning anything is my thing. I don't know. It's the way that my brain works. I'm sure there is something that has to do with the different hemispheres of the brain, and one part of the brain having to do with planning and organizing and all that. Whatever that portion is, it has to occupy the vast majority of my brain because I love it. Anyway, let's talk about some low moments. Not too many, actually. I got sick. So I think it was the mix of the weather being like 50 one day, and then the next day is like 90, on and off again for a whole week. It did that. And then the pollen, because anytime I would go outside, I'm sneezing and my allergies are acting a fool. It was just a hot mess. So I was down for about a week because of that, and consequently I did not work out a lot. You'll see that I actually worked out a good bit, but it wasn't as much as I could have had I not fallen ill. My favorite memories were from the St. Patrick's Day party we had here. We had a St. Patrick's Day party. By St. Patrick's Day, I just mean there was green, and it did fall on that weekend, I think the day after St. Patrick's Day, but it wasn't like some huge thing. But we did play St. Patrick's Day themed games and stuff like that, because I feel like if I'm going to celebrate anything, I need to really tap into it and make it a learning experience and not just be out here trying to sell it. Like, I kind of want to have another party and it would be themed as well, and I want to make that a learning experience. I don't know, it's just a thing for me. I just think it's weird to be celebrating something that I don't really know about. So I force myself and party participants and guests to learn about whatever it is that I feel like we need to learn about. Also, I had 2 reading dates with one of my friends. She's an avid reader, and we actually had one yesterday where we started on the same book, which I'll talk about books in a minute. Bel Air, of course. I love Bel Air. I love watching Bel Air. Patio living is springtime. It's been time for me to, when it's spring, I'm on the patio. I'm going to be on the patio after this video. Mimosas at the hair salon. I went and got my hair done last week, or the week before. I got a blowout, and the stylist was like, "You want a mimosa?" And other women were there getting their hair done and drinking mimosas, and I was like, this is a vibe. Like, I'll be back. It was my second time going. I'll be back, because she colored my hair, and so I feel like because she colored it, I should go to her to let her like maintain it and keep it up and do whatever she needs to do. I don't know. I don't know. So I just go and let her do it, but it was fun. And then yesterday was March the 31st. The whole day was my favorite memory. I'm not even going to talk about why the whole day was my favorite memory, because we have so much more to cover. But yesterday was, the whole day was my favorite. Also, it was mainly my favorite because my husband and I are now going to be on spring break. Technically starting, actually it started yesterday at 3:30 is when we got out of school technically. And that is when spring break started. So we're off this weekend, all of next week, and then the weekend after that. So catch me outside all spring break. Okay, so let's talk about books. I started and finished The Light We Carry by Michelle Obama. I read last month, well technically it's April right now, April 1st, but in February then I read Becoming. And so it just made sense, since my mother-in-law had Becoming and The Light We Carry, to read both of them. So I read The Light We Carry, and I definitely didn't like it as much as Becoming, but you know, it's whatever. I'm not necessarily here to do a book review, but I definitely liked Becoming way better. But I did get a nugget from The Light We Carry, which I'll share in a minute. And then I also read Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, which I loved. Coming from reading, I normally just read autobiographies or biographies or anything nonfiction. So coming from reading The Light We Carry to Things We Never Got Over was a huge shock, because there was profanity and it was like kind of raunchy and stuff, which for my friend, that's literally her favorite genre, she says. So I'm like, girl, you should have, before you recommended that, you should have let me know what I was about to get myself into, because that was a lot. But in addition to that, we both started after yesterday at our reading date, Things We Hide from the Light. So I definitely highly recommend Things We Never Got Over, but it's, like I said, a little raunchy. There's profanity and all the things, so beware of that. But I'm already knee deep in this thing now, so I'm going to finish out the series, and we're starting with Things We Hide from the Light, or we started on that yesterday. And then I'm also reading Glucose Revolution. As many of you know, a couple of years ago, I kicked my sugar habit, even though I don't not consume sugar. You just saw me put sugar in my coffee probably, if I left that clip in. And I consume things that have sugar in them, but I'm really super, like, once the keto movement came about and people started consuming a lot of like fat and meats and all the things that you consume when you're doing keto. I've never done keto, but I have done and still try to do low carb. But once that movement came about, maybe like 4 or 5 years ago, that's when I was knee deep into trying to learn about alternatives to sugar, mainly because I would buy some keto meals, some low carb meals, like I mentioned, and there was this one lady who would make different sugar-free desserts, and these desserts, you guys, they were so good. And that's when I was like, I can really actually probably go without sugar, because I always had a sweet tooth, and if I'm not consuming sweets like Starburst and Skittles and cakes and cookies and pies that have sugar in them, I probably could not even consume that much sugar. And so I just drastically cut back the sugar and the carbs as well, but mainly the sugar stuff. And so I'm knee deep into learning all about like glucose and all the things. So I'm reading that simultaneously, but because they're vastly different, I'm normally not a person who reads 2 books at once. I cannot multitask to save my life, but because they're vastly different, one feels more like a health class while the other one is like a book that I can't put down kind of thing. That's why and how I'm able to read them both at the same time. So let's talk about some lessons learned. One lesson that I learned, or that this doesn't necessarily have to be a lesson, just something that came up for me that I noticed and I noted so that I could reflect on it. And one of those things is how much criticism took up or takes up in a relationship or in our marriage. So 6 months ago, back when we had birthdays in September, my husband and I decided that it's kind of like, I mentioned this before, so we have birthdays in September, we have a wedding anniversary and the anniversary of when we met in November, it's the same day, and then of course we have the new year approaching in January. And so Q4 of every year is kind of when we're doing processing and all that kind of stuff, and we decided that we each wanted to be less critical of ourselves and other people. And what we didn't really realize, I don't think, is how much we were also critical of one another. And so without being critical, we literally have nothing to bicker about. I can't even think of the last bicker. I mean, we disagree all the time on things. That doesn't mean it has to be an argument or anything like that. But yeah, we haven't had like a falling out or going without talking to each other for longer than probably, like 2 minutes in like 6 months. It's been a while. So it's kind of wild. Because here's the thing, how we do this is if I notice my husband is being critical of anything, anyone, any person, whatever, I reflect back onto him the criticism that I've noticed. He does the same thing to me. And so as we've been learning to not be critical of anything, anyone, any person, as we've been unlearning that, we've also noticed how much criticism we just use just regularly. And so not doing that anymore is actually kind of wild. I highly recommend. But again, it's not that we were just critical of one another. We were just critical. It's not really criticism. It's kind of like, it's more like judgment / criticism. I don't know. I can't really take up the time on here to put it into pretty words. He and I both understand what it is that we do, but I feel like it falls in line with criticism. So that's something that I noticed. I also realized that community is life. Friends and family members bring me so much joy. That is what life is about. And that showed up for me whenever we had our St. Patrick's Day party, and we had all of our friends and family members over here, and they come from all different walks of life, all different shapes, sizes, religions. Some are non-religious, all different, whatever. And that's what life is about. Life is about building a community of people who you love and trust and want to be around, regardless of what they believe in and who they choose to marry and their sexualities and all of that, and extending love to them because they're good people and because they make you feel loved or safe or whatever it is. So that was top tier. Also, I was at this brain training on calming the overactive brain, and the guy was saying that resilience is a product of experience. And when he said that, that's like one thing that really made me look up and pay attention to what was going on, because the training was low-key boring. But I was like, wow, that's interesting. Resilience is a product of experience. I think we all know that, but and I'm not here to elaborate on it, but it's just, that was just powerful for me. So I love that. So I decided to notate it. And then also from The Light We Carry by Michelle, she talks about how we have to or should be curious about people. Meaning, if let's say you have a coworker and you guys are getting along well, you're laughing and having a good time, building maybe some type of relationship, but you haven't hung out outside of work. If neither of you extend to the other person maybe an invite outside of work, or just let them know that you're curious about them. That's the word she uses. Curious about how they might be, not at work, or curious about their family or their friend, like just curious about getting to know them more. If neither person shares that and is vulnerable and communicative, I think that's a word, enough to say I'm curious about you, not in those terms obviously, but to do that, then the relationship really doesn't go anywhere. And what a tragedy it would be to have someone who you might actually be curious about, but you might be too afraid or anxious or nervous to let them know that you would like to, maybe get to know them more or hang out in a different setting. So as she talks about being curious, it's actually going to show up in one of my April goals. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I don't know, that just really resonated with me when she mentioned that, or when she talked all about that. All right, so let's run through what went well and my favorite items. What went well was attending our workout classes. We joined a gym and we've been going to pretty much all the workout classes. So that's been going really well. We were more intentional with our spending, especially the first half of the month. It was amazing. Signed up for a gym membership. I downloaded Libby for books, which we're going to talk about. Maybe I'm talking about that now. We'll talk about it in a minute. And then I had a decent dental report. I went to get my 6-month checkup. I do have to go back, I think next month, because there's something minor that they need to do, but it was good. And I have an implant, which is a fake tooth, which you're looking at, but you don't know which one it is. So the fact that my implant continues to thrive after all these years, I think I got that implant before I got married, really, truly. So it's been like almost 7 years and homegirl's thriving. So I love that for her. And then also I'm getting better at Gel X. As I have mentioned many times before, I have been doing my own nails using Gel X. And these were really long. That's why they look crazy. They were really long, like this long. And I cut them down. And then when I cut them down, I got rid of all the design, unfortunately. But I needed to cut them down because I just wanted them long for like 2 days. And then I knew I would cut them down. But so when I cut them down, yeah, I got rid of all the design. So that's why they kind of look strange. Otherwise, I wouldn't have just chosen this color for my nails. But yeah, I'm getting really good. These are growing out. It's time for me to either fill them in, which you can do, or just apply a new set. But these suckers are on here for dear life. And so let's now talk about my favorites. My favorite beauty item was my blowout. Loved it. Chef's kiss. And then also just ethnic hair altogether. I also got my hair done in box braids. Jumbo box braids. My favorite food was these green deviled eggs that I made. I make deviled eggs all the time. And this time, because what everyone had to do for St. Patty's Day was to bring a green drink or a green food. And everybody was stressed out about the green food situation. And I'm like, just get some food item that you would normally make, your staple, and then maybe like decorate it with some green stuff or dye it. And so I dyed my green eggs. They were a hit because there were none left over. And that meant that maybe there were like 15 people here. 15 people ate all 24 plus eggs. So they must have been good as well as green. Favorite lifestyle activity type of thing was party planning, as I mentioned. Favorite leisure activity, you guessed it, reading. My favorite tech item is this. I recently bought an iPad mini. I have no reason as to why I bought it other than it was essentially free. And that is because if you are a Prime member, a business Prime member, and you sign up for the American Express Amazon Prime business credit card, you get an instant, and you get approved, you get an instant $200 Amazon gift card. What I actually did is I bought a $200 gift card to Apple. And then I went to the Apple website and I purchased the iPad. And because of which, my husband got a $200 sign up bonus for this other credit card that we had just signed him up for maybe a month ago. We finally hit the $500 that you have to spend within, you have to spend it within like 3 months, but we spent it within maybe a month. And for which case we got $200 from that. And then we also got 2% back from Apple for that. And then we also use the discount through Apple, the student teacher discount. So altogether, the iPad turned out to be free. And that is why I have the iPad. And I have been using it for reading and for planning. And that's pretty much it. And it just looks like this. So this is it. And it's been giving me life. I love it so much. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, that's it for my favorite items. Okay, so while I have this with me, we have to talk about Libby. I recently discovered Libby maybe a month ago, and Libby is an app. And essentially what you do is once you get into the app, once you download it and get in here, you can then put in your library card and enter in your library card information if you have one, and then that grants you access to all the different books that are within the library that you're a part of. So they have pretty much every book on here. My husband was listening to Barack's book, The Promised Land. He was actually listening to the audiobook, but there are so many books on here. 24,000 books, 16,000 audiobooks, 4,000 magazines, 45,000 of everything that I've just mentioned are available now, and 20,000 are compatible with Kindle. So literally all the books are in here. You can place a hold on the book if you want. It's like a library, so you can't just be on here reading anything and everything, because it might not be available. While they do have lots of books on here, it has to be available. So if it's available, you just press borrow. If it's not available, you have to place a hold, and it'll tell you, how many people are ahead of you, how many copies there are. Like for this book, there are three copies in use, 51 people waiting in total, and 17 people waiting per copy. And if I were to place the hold, it would kind of roundabout tell me when I can expect to be able to get the book. But there are other books that I can just read because they're available now. These are some of the ones that are on hold, but like I mentioned, there are plenty that I have put on hold, but then there are plenty on here that I can go ahead and start reading now. So I highly recommend it because it's life. And the fact of the matter is, if you borrow it for 21 days or whatever the longest length amount of time is, I think it's 21, and you don't finish by then you can always re-borrow it. But of course, you gotta hope that you don't have to, that someone else hasn't borrowed it, or other people haven't borrowed that book or those copies, because you might have to wait until it's available again to borrow it again. So basically my recommendation is to only borrow books that you're really committing to reading within, like I said, I think 21 days, so that you don't have to worry about anything else. But the books are free, if I haven't mentioned that already. My friend cringes at the thought of having stipulations around, like borrowing books, and when she has to return them, she's like, I might as well just buy them, which could be true. That could very well be true, but this is free. And I mean, my recommendation is to go in, all the books you think you might want to read, go ahead and put yourself on hold, get in line so you can get access to the book when it becomes available. And then in the meantime, just read other books that you haven't purchased or you don't want to purchase. That's my recommendation. Highly recommend the Libby app. Okay, so I guess it's time that we talk about the budget. So let's do that now. I am going to screen record, and we are going to go into my Notion, which I need to take you on a little tour of because it has changed a little bit. So we're going to go to my March budget, and we're just going to go through the list and just kind of see what's what. All right, so let me change this up here because it got messed up. There we go. All right, so let's talk about our goals. The first goal was to save $2,000 additionally, and we did do that. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but essentially ish hit the fan in 2023 financially. So whereas typically each month we invest an additional $2,000, we are not doing that now because of recent repairs we had for our car, and because my husband's going back to school, and some other expense that we had. So we've halted our additional investing, and we're just saving that money instead. Next up, we did invest 15% of our paycheck, so love that. Also, my job sent me this breakdown of my salary, my base salary, and then also all of the other money that I earn through working through the employer on top of my base salary. And I will say that if that was an attempt to get me or anyone else to potentially stick around, it definitely worked. I mean, I knew how much they contributed to retirement for me on top of what I contribute, and I knew how much they were contributing to all these other places and systems on my behalf. But that breakdown definitely was shocking, which then holds true that this job pays way more than any other job that I've ever had, even though I don't love the public school system. So that's kind of why I work this job. Anyway, let's talk about pay monthly credit card bill. Did that. We did not register our truck. We have a pickup truck that has spent most of its life being broken down. We haven't had it long, and because of it, it just kind of sits. But one day we'll register it and add it to our auto insurance, but not today. I did transfer 225 for sinking funds. Interestingly enough, I also already transferred the 225 for April, because this morning I woke up and I went ahead and I made the transfer. I normally do it at the beginning of the month. That way, if we are going to spend from our sinking funds in the month, then I'll already have made that transfer, which makes it easier. I did buy my niece a birthday gift. I went a little overboard, which you'll see. I did buy an area rug, you guys. I'm so excited because I have had buy area rug on my to-do list for a long time, probably like a year. But the rug went on sale. Interestingly enough, after I signed up for that credit card, that rug has been in my save for later list for probably a good year or more. As soon as I signed up for that credit card and got approved and was able to start spending, I got a notification that the rug had gone down to $150 from what it originally was, which was maybe like $185. And so I just bought it just outright, not using that credit card though. I haven't even used that credit card. I signed up for the Amazon Express credit card and I have not used it. The credit limit is out of this world. I could buy a brand new car with that credit card. And so I don't actually plan to use it. I just wanted the free money. Sorry, Amazon, but I did get this rug, but it wasn't because of the credit card. I think that it literally, like, I think everything's kind of a conspiracy. I think it was purposeful so that maybe, because it's probably been in my cart for the longest time, I would buy it because I've never seen it anywhere near $150. And I was going to buy it at $180. But I just kept putting it off because, when it comes to what I want to do in life, buying an area rug never was at the top of the to-do list. But anyway, I bought an area rug. We did prep our taxes. We filed our taxes and we did not get new tires. There was supposed to be in March, kind of like a buy 3, get 1 free deal, but we didn't take advantage of it. So there's that. And then I did not pay my medical bill, but I have to go to the doctor next week and I'll pay it when I get there. Okay, so those are our goals. I already showed you guys my new bill tracker in my April budget with me, but basically this is my new bill tracker. And so everything's laid out beautifully. Well, it's not beautifully because I need to figure out the formula that will make this thing auto-populate the next payment for biannual bills. There is a selection already. There was a selection within this tracker for monthly, yearly, and I think even quarterly, but I need one for biannually because we pay our Sirius XM every 6 months and we pay our car insurance, auto insurance every 6 months. So that's why those two just remain at the top, and the start date and the next payment date are the same because I can't figure out the formula. And I haven't sat down to try to figure out the formula because once I do that, then the Sirius next payment will change and the Progressive one will change as well. But speaking of Sirius XM, March was the month of free stuff. There was so much free stuff that we got, but I got a notification the other day through Walmart Plus, because we have Walmart Plus. It was like an offer that popped up on my phone and I explored. And we can get Sirius XM for free for, I think, 3 months or 6 months, which is convenient because we do have Sirius XM in one car. So when this subscription ends in April, in this month, then I am going to input the code for the free subscription into the Sirius XM website thing. And then that will hopefully give us 3 months or 6 months free. It's one of those for Sirius XM, which will mean that we won't have to make a payment again to them for either 3 or 6 months down the road. So that's something exciting that took place. So let's talk now then. Oh, also this thing is really cool because it has the sum down here at the bottom. If you have the figures in here correctly, of course. The sum down here for the month, the monthly amount for all your subscriptions and bills and things, which I have here. And then it also has the yearly amount. So I thought that that was pretty cool. So anywho, that's that. And then what else happened in here? Oh, and then as a part of the bills tracker, there's also a payment calendar. And so let me go to April. If you look at April, you see when all of our bills are due and whatnot. Except I need to change the one for the YMCA because we signed up for it on the 7th of March. And so we had a prorated fee or whatever. And so I thought, because of which, that we would pay the bill every month on the 7th. But as it turns out, they took their money this morning, which means that, for which case, the bill is going to be due at the top of the month. There we go. All right, so this is beautiful. So this is all of our bills, all of our expenses for the month of April. I love it. So let's talk about how much we brought in and then how much we spent. All right, so you see up at the top, we had six counts for our different income sources, and then our total income was $6,040.92, but not really, because what I don't do is I don't add in how much we pay ourselves from the business. It just depends. Some months I put it in here, and then some months I don't. I guess I feel like there's really no need to do it because we don't live off of that money, and because we kind of just use it if we have a large expense that we need to make, and then we just kind of use the money from that. I don't know. It's just not like a consistent thing. So therefore we just really don't rely on it, but we do factor it in as income. Technically, we just don't really track it in the tracker, if that makes sense. So anyway, I entered in all of our expenses for the entire month right here. And let's talk about our bills and expenses and how much those were and how much we spent on all of those. Okay, so our expenses were $5,055.75, and then our income was $6,014.06. And this has a savings of $35. I don't know why it has that in there. I need to get rid of it. But essentially, whatever we didn't spend on bills and expenses, such as groceries and our I don't know, date nights and gas and all the things, we saved that money on top of also money that we saved from the business side of things. And that's pretty much why I don't really track that, because it doesn't really make sense. So anyway, this is pretty much our budget. Everything pretty much came in as it was supposed to be. Maybe our water bill was a couple cents less or something like that. But for the most part, we have the same budget that we have every single month. So that's why I decided to show it to you guys a little differently for this time. Okay, so now we're going to go into our March goals, my March goals. At the top, I have my annual goals, and we probably should check in with those since we are a quarter of the way through the year. But until then, let's just check out our March goals and see how we did with those. So for personal, I wanted to take a personal day, which I did do. Then I wanted to read one book, which I did because I read 2 books, and then I'm starting on 2 other books. For self-care, I wanted to schedule a hair appointment, which I did. Schedule my laser hair removal appointment, which I did. Do my nails and schedule my OBGYN. I'm going to mark that as achieved because I did 3 of the 4 things. For family, I wanted to complete home projects to include purchasing a waffle comforter, which I did. Touching up the paint, which I didn't do. Purchasing an area rug, and then decorating for spring. I'm going to do those 2. I'm going to check that off as achieved as well. We did save $2,000. We did invest $100 via stash. And then we did invest 15% of our paychecks. I wanted to host a gathering, which I did. For career, I wanted to study for my clinical exam, which I did not do. I wanted to pass the exam, which I didn't study for or schedule. So didn't achieve that. For business, I wanted to secure 1 sponsorship. And I did do that. And that was, no, I didn't. Wait, yes, I did. This is March. Yes, I secured another sponsorship with Epson. And then I wanted to publish 8 YouTube videos, which I did, 4 Instagram Reels, which I did, and then work out at least 1 hour 4 times per week. Schedule workout days weekly, sign up for gym membership. I'm going to do achieved on that because I counted how many days I worked out, even though I was down for the count for about a week. I worked out 14 times. My goal each month is to work out half of the days of the month. So either really what it shakes out to be is about every other day is pretty much when I need to be working out, or that's how it makes sense in my head, which is doable. So I'm going to mark that as achieved. So I'm honestly kind of impressed. Normally there are some goals that your girl does not come close to meeting. But you know, I'm actually okay with this. Yeah, I think I am. I'm gonna move this so it says relationship. So there we are. All right. So let me show you guys my 2023 bucket list. This is new. So I wrote everything that I would like to do, maybe not in 2023, but just some cool things that I would like to do, things I've never done, things we've talked about doing. Most of these would easily be described as like a date night. So like my husband said he wants to go paintballing and laser tagging and some of the things that we have on here. And then I have some things on here too. So it's our 2023 bucket list, which is, like I said, mainly like our date night idea. So I have some notes on here because I've looked up some things, and I have, if they're in progress, because we've looked up dates that will work for us and we need to book it, that type of thing. So that's how I'm notating if it's in progress or if it's not started or if it's done. So I just wanted to show our 2023 bucket list. So now I'm going to go back and we're going to look at my April goals that I have set. So let's fix this too here. Oh, we got to look at my yearly goals too, remember? Okay, let's start here though. Let's look at this first. All right, so we are going to, I'm going to get rid of that because that's in my way. Delete that, and then backspace. Should get rid of that. And then now everything looks good, right? Yeah, good enough. Okay, so let's look at these April goals. For April, my goal each month is to take a personal day. And so I've decided tomorrow, I have nothing to do. We don't have anything to do. So I could take one tomorrow. And the 23rd is also the next time we don't have anything to do. So I think I'm going to I may take both, but I just like to put it in here as, I like to put a couple options in here. And I just like personal days because they're fun. I have no other reason other than they're fun. I want to read 2 books. I want to do some self-care. So I wanted to schedule my hair appointment. I already did, actually. My hair is done. I want to do face masks in April. I haven't done any in a while. I want to do my nails. I want to potentially schedule my OBGYN. This is for my checkup. I have to pay out of pocket for this now with my new insurance through my new job, you know, the one that pays the most, but they don't cover an annual checkup, which is wild. Like, I thought that had to be a joke, but the doctor's office confirmed it wasn't. And then when I called my insurance company, they also confirmed it wasn't a joke. So I will schedule that whenever, like at some point. I am told that if you're regular, you can essentially go like every couple years. And I have been going every year and getting regular checkups and regular results for years. And so I've just decided that I'll just skip. I'll schedule it whenever I get to it. That's kind of what I've decided. I'm thinking summer. For whatever reason, it just sits right with my spirit to maybe go in the summer and whatever. I don't know. It's just on here as something I need to do. For family, I think I want to purchase a hammock. I want to touch up the paint and organize the drawers in our home. For whatever reason, I want to organize all the drawers. I don't know why, but I want to do that. We want to save $2,000, invest $80 via stash, invest 15% of our paychecks. Also, for relationships, we want to host friends and family. I think I want to plan a Cinco de Mayo type of party. So I want to, if I'm doing that, since it's early May, I need to get on that now in April. I want to be curious and extend a party invite to a new person. Why that's on here, I must really want to do this because it's on here twice. We'll get rid of that one. And then for career, same goals. Business, literally the same goals. Oh, and I had my Sony ZV-1, my vlog camera that I bought because my Canon G7X Mark II fell apart, and like the whole thing fell apart. And so I bought the Sony ZV-1 after doing a lot of research, but now I'm having trouble with it, and it's a common issue, and I need to figure it out now because I don't, you know, it comes with a manufacturer warranty, and so I need to kind of work out those kinks. I want to do that sooner rather than later so that I'm not stuck with this camera because it's out of warranty and stuff. And then for health, same thing. All right, so let's look at our yearly goals since we're here. I want to read at least 4 books. I think I read 4 books already. I want to purchase a dresser for the landing, purchase an area rug. I did that already. Invest $20,000. We won't meet that. I'm over it. Invest $1,000 via stash. On track there. And I know I'm on track easily because the monthly goals are a reflection of the yearly goals. And if we meet the monthly goals for many of these, if I meet my monthly goals, then I'll meet my yearly goals. Invest 15% of paychecks. On track. Pay off $13,000 of debt, technically on track. Pay down car loan. Make extra payments if possible. Probably not going to be able to do that. Schedule gatherings quarterly for relationships. On track. Career. On track. Business. Oh, I was going to list all of my sponsorships here. Well, technically I have 2 Epson and then 1 Mint Mobile. Who else have I worked with? I think that's about it. So, oh yeah, so if I'm looking for 12 and I already have 3 and it's March, well, it's April 1st right now, then I'm on track with that. Publish 8 YouTube videos monthly, on track. Finish new business outline. I said I was going to work on this June through August, and that's probably because it's the summertime and I'll be off work and I'll have nothing to do. So we'll have to see if I do that. And then publish 1 Instagram reel weekly, on track. And then health, work out at least 30 minutes 4 times a week, on track there. So looks like we probably just won't meet some of the large financial goals, which I don't care about at this point. And the way that we do money is if we have additional funds after paying our bills and having a little bit of fun and buying a few things here or there, then we try to really put that money to good use. And to us, putting money to good use is paying down debt. It might even be giving or donating, like larger amounts. It could be investing, any of that. That's what we consider to be doing good with our money. But if we ain't got it, then we ain't got it. So right now we ain't got it because we got stuff. We had a car completely break down in January and all the things. So looks like we won't meet that. And I think that's it. I think those are a couple of those big, huge goals over there. That's about it. So that's our Q1 annual goals check-in. I don't think I've shown you guys this either, so I want to share with you real quick. Let me go to my home page. I'm going to take you to my home Notion. This is my home page, and I want to take you over here to my tasks list. So I have a personal task list, personal to-do list. It's a master to-do list, and I have some tasks when I completed the tasks. Sometimes I even have when I need to complete the tasks by, and then, or that's typically what I'll put in the date column when I would like to complete it. And then I have the status and then a checkbox to say that I've completed it, and then a text option to kind of write in any notes. And I have that for a bunch of different things, for home, for family, for work, all of that stuff. And that's kind of my new Notion and what I'm doing with my Notion. I also have a new social media section. So I have my March social media, and I'll show you what that looks like. So this is an outline of all of the videos that I wanted to film for March, which turns up, like, it basically shakes out to being a video every Wednesday and every Saturday. Then I have when I'm going to film it, and then I check off if I filmed it. When I'm going to edit it, I check off when I edit it, and when I'm going to publish it, and then I check off when I'm going to publish it, and then, or that is published, and then I select the status as either done or in progress, not started. And then I have the same thing for April. So I've gone ahead and outlined all my videos for April. Then I have a sponsorships section, and then I also have a speaking engagement section. And in those two, those are a little different because I have, like, if the brand has paid yet, or if the company has paid me yet, or if I'm going to be paid for it. So it's essentially the same thing. It's just has more to do with money. And that's pretty much my new Notion. I just wanted to take you guys on a little tour of my new Notion. By the way, I'll have the I'll have the Notion linked down below. I purchased this from Etsy, from a seller on Etsy, and I've made a few tweaks here and there. Also have like a book section, all the things, but I've made a few tweaks here or there to make it fit my needs. But essentially the layout of this is one that I got from Etsy. Here is my monthly reflection page, and I just wanted to show my mood board for the month of April. So we have, that's a picture that I took of me reading The Light We Carry. That's the Glucose Revolution front cover or book cover. That's the Light We Carry book cover. Things We Never Got Over book cover. That's me and some of my coworkers. St. Patrick's Day party flyer, and me before going to meet my coworkers. That's the drink we played. One of the drinks we played. One of the drinking games we played. A picture of my iPad mini box braids. That's not me, but that was my inspiration, and my hair basically looks like that. And then me and my husband, St. Patrick's Day thing. That's the bachelorette party flyer that I planned out, and that's just the March calendar. That's my blowout that I was talking about. And yeah, oh, the grounding technique. I was doing a lot of mindfulness stuff with my students in the month of March, so I wanted to notate that. And then I am going to cut this, and then I'm going to paste it again because I want it to be on top. I think, yeah, I think I'm going to do like that. I guess I kind of want that to be on top now. Whatever. This is my mood board for the month of March. Okay, so it looks like we're finished. So what's cool to me, or what I think is fun about these videos, is that the monthly reflection takes a good bit. Typically talking about finances takes a good bit. But then the goal section is a breeze because I just boom, boom, boom. And then I'm like, am I finished? Have I covered all the things? I have covered all of the things. Okay, so that is going to be it for this video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and if you're liking what you're seeing. And I will catch you guys right back here in a few days in a brand new video. Bye, guys.